They wanted them dead. The FBI, the Hells Angels, rivals across 3 countries, 80 years of war, and the Outlaws Motorcycle Club is still here. Most motorcycle clubs don't last a decade. The Outlaws? They've survived 8 of them. How does a 1% club outlive every attempt to destroy it? That's what we're about to find out. This isn't just history. It's a survival story. A story about men who built something the world said couldn't exist and refused to let it die. ATF Outlaw Motorcycle Gang reports 1980 to 2023. FBI organized crime assessments. By the end of this, you'll understand why some brotherhoods don't break, even when the entire system wants them to. This is the Outlaws MC, the brotherhood that refused to die. 1935, Chicago, the Great Depression. Most motorcycle club original history, Outlaw Bikers by Bill Hayes, 2018. Most people were just trying to survive, but a group of working class guys at Matilda's bar had a different idea. They called themselves the McCook Outlaws, named after a town outside Chicago. Not outlaws like criminals, outlaws like rebels, men who didn't fit the mold. Think about what that meant in 1935. The world was broken, jobs were gone, hope was scarce. And these guys, they built a brotherhood. The original Wild Ones by Bill Hayes, MC historian documentation. They had no idea what they'd started, because 20 years later, everything changed. The 1950s brought a new kind of biker. Veterans, rebels, men who'd seen war. And the Outlaws weren't a bar club anymore. They were becoming something bigger. 1954, they officially became the Outlaws Motorcycle Club. Dropped McCook, added chapters, and adopted a symbol that would become legendary. Charlie, the skull with crossed pistons. It wasn't just a logo. It was a declaration. We're here. We're not going anywhere. But here's what most people don't know. The real fight hadn't even started yet. For decades, the Outlaws owned the Midwest. Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan. Their territory, their rules. Then, the Hells Angels started expanding east, and they wanted what the Outlaws had. 2 clubs, both called themselves the biggest. Both refused to back down. Something had to break. The violence started small. Bar fights, threats, stolen bikes. Then it escalated. Bombings, shootings, murders. This wasn't posturing anymore. This was war. 1974, a Hells Angel was killed in a bar fight with Outlaws. The Angels swore revenge. The Outlaws said, "Come and take it." Think about what that decision meant. Choosing war over peace. Choosing brotherhood over safety. That's the Outlaws' code. You don't surrender. Ever. And that code, it almost destroyed them. While the Outlaws fought the Hells Angels, the FBI was building a case. RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, a law designed to take down the mafia, now aimed at motorcycle clubs. The raids started in the 1980s. Coordinated, massive, relentless. Dozens of outlaws arrested, chapters shut down. The government said, "We're ending you." The outlaws said, we've survived worse. 2002, Operation Roughrider, the ATF's biggest operation against the Outlaws ever. 40 members indicted. Murder, racketeering, conspiracy. The feds called it dismantling a criminal enterprise. They were wrong. Because here's what the government didn't understand. The Outlaws aren't a business you can shut down. They're a family, a code, an identity. You can arrest members, shut clubhouses, seize property. But you can't arrest an idea. And the idea? It refused to die. Every time the government thought they'd won, new chapters opened, new members patched in. The Outlaws kept going. How? That's the question prosecutors couldn't answer.
The Outlaws survived because they built a system. Not chaos, not anarchy, structure. President, vice president, secretary-treasurer, sergeant-at-arms. Every chapter has the same structure. Every member knows their role. This isn't a gang. Gangs are loose, unstable. This is an organization. And organizations, they endure. The secretary-treasurer keeps records, tracks finances. The sergeant-at-arms enforces rules, maintains order. Nothing is random. Nothing is improvised. And at the center of it all, the mother chapter. Chicago, where it all started in 1935. Still the heart of the Outlaws today. When Chicago speaks, chapters listen. That's how they survived federal pressure. When one chapter got hit, others adapted. When leadership was arrested, successors stepped up. The system protected the club.
Think about it. The mafia fell because bosses talked. Families fractured. The Outlaws, their structure wouldn't let that happen. Today, the Outlaws are in over 30 states. Europe, Australia, Asia. Bigger than they've ever been. But survival came at a cost most people never see. 80 years of survival doesn't mean 80 years of victory. It means 80 years of sacrifice. Members killed in conflicts with rivals, brothers who died in prison, families torn apart by arrests. Some outlaws got life sentences. Some got death row. For them, survival meant dying behind bars. That's the cost of the code. And the club asks, was it worth it? The answer? They don't ask that question. Because to an outlaw, there's no alternative. From their view, it's not about winning or losing. It's about refusing to surrender who you are, even when the world demands it.
The government sees criminals. The outlaws see brothers. Both are right. Both are wrong. That's what makes this story hard. There's no clean answer. Just men who chose a path and walked it for 80 years. Would you make that choice? Brotherhood over safety? Loyalty over freedom? That's what the Outlaws bet their lives on. 90 years after Matilda's bar, the Outlaws MC is still here. Still fighting the Hells Angels. Still fighting the government. Still refusing to die. Chapters in over 30 countries now. Thousands of members worldwide. One of the oldest, biggest 1% clubs on Earth.
Every generation, people say they're finished. Every generation, they're wrong.
Sons join because their fathers were outlaws. Grandsons carry patches their grandfathers wore. This isn't a trend, it's a legacy. So what does survival really mean? For the outlaws, it means this: the code outlives the men who live by it. That skull, it's older than most Americans. It survived wars, raids, decades of violence, and it's not going anywhere. The Outlaws MC didn't survive by being the strongest. They survived by refusing to quit. When rivals attacked, they fought back. When the government raided, they rebuilt. When brothers fell, others stepped up. That's what 80 years teaches you. Survival isn't about never falling. It's about always getting back up. And the outlaws, they always get back up.
90 years, 3 generations, 1 brotherhood. The Outlaws MC is a survival story, but it's also a question. What would you give up to belong to something bigger? Your safety? Your freedom? Maybe your life? For the Outlaws, the answer has always been everything. So here's what I want to know from you. When you look at the Outlaws MC, what do you see? Drop survivors if you respect the 80-year endurance. Drop outlaws if you see rebels who chose their own path. Drop both if you think the truth is more complicated. I genuinely want to see where this community stands. Next week, the Pagans MC, the club that owns the East Coast, the most violent rivalry in American MC history, and the brotherhood that makes the outlaws look tame. You won't want to miss that one. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. I'll see you on the road.